Well, hey folks, and welcome to Solarcabin's channel. Hey, I got a real fun little cabin here I wanted to share with you. I call this one the Bandito. Bandito is a Mexican word for bandit, and I designed this. This is a kind of a southwestern cabin with a stucco look to it, or you could actually do this in stucco. And you see these southwestern style homes all over Mexico, all over in the Southwest, in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. Warmer climates generally is where you see stucco homes. Well, this cabin would fit right into that, and I kind of designed it for a warmer climate. It could be used in different areas, but I designed this for a warmer climate, and I'll show you why. Now, this cabin is 12 foot by 16 feet. It is 12 feet wide by 16 feet long, and it is a single level. And I got everything you need in here in just a single level. No loft in this one. So this would be good for people that don't want a loft and maybe don't have a need for having a bunch of extra bed space and don't want to climb up into a loft and worry about a ladder and stuff like that. So this is a really nice design. It's also a little bit more modern looking. So for people that live in neighborhoods, maybe you already have a house, but you're looking for a office or a workspace or a guest house or a mother-in-law apartment to go behind your house, this little 12 by 16 Bandito would fit in really well in just about any type of housing situation. Can be tucked back behind your house, or it could be a permanent house for one or two people. As I'll show you, it has plenty of room in here. So let's look at some of these features. Now you can see on the outside I've got this kind of decorated up in southwestern or in warm climate here. I got a couple of palm trees over here with my hammock in it, some cactus and some rocks. Oh, there's El Gato on my porch. And I've got some more cactus plants sitting over here. And a nice tile deck, which I'll show you here. Now I want to tell you that when you're building porches and decks off of your little cabins, you have to be careful, because if you attach a porch to your cabin, then it becomes part of the footprint, and they'll say it's bigger than 200 square feet. The way to get around that is, as you can see there's a line here, is just to make this porch a separate structure that can be taken off of the cabin, okay? Then generally they won't hassle you. But if they do and they say, oh, that's part of the footprint, just take that off until they leave you alone, then you can put it back on. Or you can come up with just a different type of porch out here that won't get you in trouble. But the porch has to be separate from the cabin. It can't be attached to it, otherwise they consider that part of the footprint. Okay? Now, some of the features of this cabin, really, really nice. And I did a lot of design work on this. It's all in the details. Details is what makes these cabins look nice. First, let's get rid of some of this stuff out here so you're not so distracted by it. And we'll just look at just the cabin now. Now this is 8-foot sidewalls with a 3-foot false front. Okay, it has a false front, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. It's not just for looks. Okay, here you can see it goes 3 foot to the peak. It's 2 foot to these side wings out here, and it has 8-foot sidewall. Okay, with a sloped roof, 6 inches from the front to the back on this slope. Now that's why I was saying this would be best in warmer climates where you don't get a lot of snow, because that pitch to the back is not enough to melt your snow off fast enough, and you'd have a lot of snow buildup if you get snow. So if you are building this in an area with a lot of snow buildup, you'd want to raise the pitch up on this roof considerably higher, or use a different type of roof, which I'll include a couple of different roof options in the book. You could raise this up in the center 18 inches and have it slope off the sides this way, and that would give you enough slope for a roof that's going to get quite a bit of snow buildup. But I built this for warmer climates where you're not going to get a lot of snow, and it's designed so that the rain will run off the back. And because it slopes all the way to the back, there's no need to have a overhang over on the sides over here. Okay, if you're dealing with snow, you should have an overhang over the walls. This way you don't have to have an overhang on the walls, and makes it you use a little bit less material, a little bit less expensive that way. and gives it a nicer southwestern look. Now, the reason for this false front on these houses, okay, in Mexico and places where they build these stucco and adobe type homes, these walls would actually be about a foot thick. Now we're using wood lumber, so they're not a foot thick. I just give you the impression that they're thicker because this front nose piece out here, this false front, is actually 6 inches wide. You could make it a foot wide if you wanted, but I just went with 6 inches wide. But what the purpose of this was is that a lot of these homes were built by Mexican and southern homesteaders out in areas where there were bandits and federales that they had to worry about. And what they would do is they put these false fronts on here that were, or they didn't use false fronts, they actually used real adobe foot thick wall fronts on the tops of these houses, because if they needed to, they would get up on the roof through a ladder. They would get up on their roof, and then these porticles, these openings, as you can see here, all right, they were gun ports. They would lay on their roof. They could fire their rifles out through these gun ports at the banditos or the federales or whoever was harassing them. They could fire their guns down through there. So those actually served a very practical purpose. They could also kneel down behind this wall, fire over the top of the wall, okay? So that is a nice looking feature for a southwestern Spanish style house, but it also served a practical purpose. So that's the reason that they had those false fronts on there, was for self-protection, okay? You know, and maybe they were marauders, or maybe Indians or somebody like that was attacking their homesteads, and they would have to get up there. Now, some of the nice features you can see here. I've got these openings, these ports. I've got a bell up there, which is kind of neat. In southern style homes, if you've ever traveled down to Mexico, a lot of times they will have a bell up in the top, and this would actually be a functional bell, and they would have a string down inside the house that they could pull, and Mamacita, she would ring that bell to let the workers out in the fields know it was time to come in and get something to eat. So that was the reason that they would put the bell up there. Now, a really nice feature of this cabin are these poles that you can see, and they just give it a great Spanish or Mexican adobe type look. Okay, these poles extend all the way through underneath the roof. Okay, they are approximately 20 foot, 4-inch diameter, and you could use pine poles, would probably be your most inexpensive. And I think I've got 7 of them here, and they go across and underneath. Now, mostly these are for looks on this cabin, but they're the original design. The Mexican style adobe homes actually put these through the adobe. They would slide them through their walls, and they would stucco or adobe around them, and that was their roof supports. Now, in this cabin, they're simply for decoration. They don't actually support the roof. You could use them as roof supports, but that takes a little bit more engineering. But they are simply put through holes through the side and back wall underneath the roof. Give it a really nice look. They give you the look of those poles coming through an adobe wall without actually being there for support, okay? And I'll show you what they look like on the inside. And as you can see, they also extend out through the back wall and underneath the eaves of the roof here. Okay, so let me back up here a little bit, show you some other features. Now, this is done as stucco. Now, if you know how to do stucco, it's not hard to work with. If you want to learn how to do stucco, there's all kinds of videos and books out there. You can go on YouTube and you can learn how to do stucco. And this would be a good project to practice on, because it's not a very big project. Stucco is pretty easy to work with. But if you don't want to mess with stucco and learning how to do stucco, they also make stucco paint nowadays. Okay, stucco paint is basically just a really thick paint that has the coloring of stucco, and they put a grit, a texture in the paint to give it the texture of stucco, and you put it on with a texture brush. And then you use special types of trowels to trowel that paint to make it look like stucco, okay? So if you don't want to mess with putting actual stucco on the walls, you could use the stucco paint, and you probably wouldn't even notice a whole lot of difference. You want to kind of build it up and make it look like it's thick and heavy. Now, when I designed this cabin, I wanted it to look like it was thick and heavy, like it was an adobe stucco cabin. So there's some things you can do to make that happen. One thing, you can see that these windows all have a 2x6 border around them. This makes the wall look much thicker than it actually is. These are actually 2x4 walls, okay? But by putting the 2x6 on the outsides of them, around the doors and around the windows, it makes the wall look much thicker. So does this thicker roof, a 6-inch roof, and this false front that's 6 inches makes these walls look much thicker, even though they're only 2x4 walls. That saves you room on the inside, saves you money on the lumber, but gives you the look and appearance of a much thicker, heavy adobe cabin. So that's what I was after here. And you can see that what I did on this cabin is it doesn't have a lot of windows because I put in a double door glass sliding door in the front here with a single wood door with a couple of small windows in here in the front. This gives you lots and lots of light, and so you don't need a lot of windows in this place. And I put one large window, which is 4 foot by, I think, 4 foot on, or 4 foot by 3 foot on this side where the living room is, okay? In the back, you'll notice that we don't have a lot of windows. I only put one small window over the bathroom. Now let me tell you why. This cabin is designed for hot country, southwestern areas that might get very hot. When you're building a cabin in that kind of climate, you want to face your glass away from the sun. So this would be probably the north side here in the United States, away from the sun. This back side would be the side that would face the sun. So your sun would be over here and would shine down on this side of the house. And that's why we only have the one small window, because we don't want our cabins to get overheated from the sun beating through our windows. So this is designed so that the sun won't penetrate in through the windows and heat up the cabin. This false front also helps to shade this front area, because as you can see, the sun's going to be coming down this way, and that's going to create a shadow across the front of your porch. That's going to keep this front area of the house cooler, and the back area is going to be insulated from the sun. I've got one large window on this side, and on this side I've got one smaller window over the kitchen. Again, these are just 2x6s that go around the window to add bulk to it, to make it look thicker, but they also are the style that you would see on these old Spanish or Mexican adobe stucco homes. Now, because this would be in a very moderate climate or a sunny climate, I would really suggest that you include solar panels on this, because you might as well power your house with all that free sunshine you're getting. Now you can see I did the roof here in traditional Spanish roof tile, which you can get just about anywhere, and they're not that much more expensive than other types of roof tiles. In some places they may even be less expensive because they're so commonly used. You may be able to pick these up as our odds and ends from houses that were left over where they ordered too many tiles. They always have tiles left over. You may be able to pick up boxes of these at a salvage yard. They may not all match and all be the same color, but that doesn't matter as long as they cover your roof. In fact, odd-shaped colored tiles, as long as you mix them in nice, can look really nice. So you may be able to pick those up for a little bit of nothing. Now, I included two 230-watt, 24-volt solar panels on here. There's actually enough room here for 3 rows of solar panels. You could put a 1 kilowatt system on here. But I put two 230-watt panels on there just to show you how I would do it, because that would give you approximately 500 watts, which is how much power I have for running my cabin. Okay? Your sun is on this side. In the summer, it's very high up, so it's going to come down on these panels. And the winter is going to be a little bit lower, and your sun's going to come at this angle on these panels. Okay? And that's going to power your cabin, so you got your free power supply up there. All right? To access these, you just lean a ladder up against the roof, and you can get up on this roof, access them, do whatever you need to do. So there you got a really nice Spanish-style Bandito cabin. And I used the traditional red tiles for my porch out here. And what I would do is I would build a little garden out in this area with a stucco wall around it, okay? Little Spanish-type garden in this area around the front of my porch. Decorate it Spanish style with lots of cactus and stuff like that. And that would give you a really nice look to it, but you could decorate it any way you want. Now, Spanish-style homes generally follow some color themes. You can, of course, paint anything the way you want, but I used a traditional Spanish-style blue around these borders out here. And one thing about Spanish homes, you notice they use a lot of adobe and stucco, which is kind of a bland, no real color to it. And then they make it pop by using just a small amount of color around doors and windows. They'll put a real bright color around their windows on a very basic flat wall, and that really makes those windows pop out. Okay, so that's a nice look. So those are all features of this cabin. The poles going through the roof, the window designs are all kind of a Spanish style, the fake front there, and of course a stucco look to it. Again, this is 12 feet wide, 16 feet long, with traditional 8-foot sidewalls. So now let's go ahead and we'll pull off some of these walls and doors to show you what this looks like on the inside. Okay, so now I'm going to take off this sidewall so we can take a look at the inside. And I made this wall on this side where the living room is, so you can just click on it and hide it, so you can see the inside. And you can see that this has nice room in it. This is a single story, no loft in it. So that takes a little bit different design work here. And this is approximately 9 foot by 16 foot on the inside. And this area is used for your kitchen area, small little dining area, office. And you could put either a regular standard bed in here, or I put a couch bed in here, which I'll explain to you. But first I want to show you this bathroom since we're on this side. You're looking at the back of the shower stall, and we're just going to remove that so you can see inside the bathroom. And what you have here is 3 foot wide. It's 3 foot on the inside by a little bit more than 8 foot long. And this gets you a shower stall on this end and a toilet on that end with enough room to walk in between, with a small sink that goes against the wall over here. Okay, pretty good sized bathroom in a small area. And I'll turn this around here so you can see a little bit. You can see that it's got either a traditional or composting toilet. Here's that window that goes through the wall on the back side. And I've got a little rounded mirror with a medicine cabinet that's installed right into the wall. And then I just made this sink. It's not very pretty. You could do a better job here. But you can get these round bowl small sinks that just fit right against the wall. And then you have your faucets and handles up above it here. And then I've just got a little towel rod with a towel on it. Now I went with dark tile in here, which is kind of dark. What I would do is probably go with a dark tile halfway up and then a lighter color up above up here. But you can change that any way you want. Don't let that throw you off just because of those dark tiles in there. But tiles are Spanish style, so they use them. And again, the red tile floor down here. Okay, so that's the bathroom, which you can see is 3 foot by a little bit over 8 foot. Here's those bifold doors I was talking about. And I really like these doors because they don't swing in or out. They actually fold up against the wall, so you're not swinging a door into your bathroom or out into your living area. You can use either the accordion style door, or you could even make a pocket door. This door could slide right into this wall in here. Since this is not an insulated wall, you could have an opening in here, slide this door right into the wall. When you're designing your small cabins, think about how using different door styles. This style of door here, which I use on both of these closets, could either be a bifold or an accordion style or a pocket door. That way you're not swinging a door out into your living area and banging someone in the knees. Okay, so now I'm going to put that shower back in. I'll show you on this other side what that bathroom looks like and what that shower looks like. Okay, now you can see this bathroom from a different perspective here, and you can see the shower stall, which is a 3 foot by 3 foot shower stall, traditional size shower stall that fits into this wall right in here, a built-in, and that gives you enough room with this door open. You can open this door up enough to get into your shower, and here's that sink against the wall as you come in, and up above it you got a rounded mirror. Spanish style homes use a lot of rounded shapes. Since they use adobe and stucco, which is generally rounded around the edges, they like to use a lot of rounded shapes. So in this house, they used a lot of round sizes. There's that window again that goes through the back wall, and there you can just see the toilet inside the bathroom. So you can see this is a 2 foot 6 inch opening in here. I would use a bifold or accordion door across here, and that way you've got plenty of room to go into your bathroom without a door opening up in your way. Nice little area for taking care of business. Nice little shower over there. Okay, so that's the bathroom. Now I'm going to swing around and I'm going to show you the inside of this living area. Okay, starting with the kitchen area. In this Bandito cabin, I actually have enough room to put in full-size appliances. A lot of people like that. If you don't like the micro appliances, and you want full-size appliances, this cabin style gives you enough room to put in full-size appliances. You've got a full-size fridge and freezer over here, an old-fashioned 2-burner stove, a regular range top would actually fit in there, or the RV style stoves with the 4-burner and propane would also fit in this area. I just like the look of this old-fashioned stoves in the Spanish style home, so I put that in there. You've also got a 2-basin sink, nice big sink for doing your dishes, two-door cabinet underneath the sink, and then up above you've got 4-door cabinets up above your sink, traditional Spanish style tile back wall, and small window over the sink for ventilation, pendulum light hanging down here. And that gives you a real nice area, as you can see, for preparing your meals. You can see that you've got a nice 3-foot by 6'8" door here, so you got a good traffic path. You can come in here, put your groceries on this table, put your groceries up in your cabinets and stuff like that. Now I'm going to show you what this door and this area is over in here, so let me rotate around and we'll look at that. Okay, now we're looking at the kitchen area that I use for storage, and this bifold door here we'll take off and I'll show you what's behind that, which is a really nice feature of this cabin that a lot of people are always wondering about, is where do you store your clothes? You got to have a closet. Everybody needs a closet. Well, this cabin design gives you lots of room for a 2 by 6 foot by 3 foot closet, which is almost a traditional size closet for a regular house here. And what you have here is you got enough room for your hanging clothes. You've got some drawers down here for your foldable stuff, and even room down here on the floor for your shoes and stuff like that. Now this design in here, you could change this around if you wanted to. You can see here I've got an over-under washer dryer. That's a standard size over-under washer dryer that you can find for apartments just about anywhere. You could put the washer and dryer here and put the closet over here, and this area in here I just left open. I didn't decide what to do with it. I would probably turn this into a food pantry. Since you don't have a lot of cabinets here, I would probably use this as a food pantry. I would put the closet where the washer and dryer is and take this wall out, which I'll show you right here. You can decide how you want to do this, and I'll include a couple of different designs in the book. But let's just erase this wall here and this wall here for a minute. And you can see that back here you've got almost a 2'6" by 3 foot open area in here. Now I would put the closet here and just leave this open back here, and I'd put shelves in here for food storage or to hide my rifles or whatever. You got a lot of room, and I'd put the washer and dryer over here. So that's one option that you could use for here, is this open space. And I'll let you decide how you want to use it. You can move this stuff around either way you want here. That would give you more storage. So let's put that wall back on there. And you could also put your appliances like your water heater. There's enough room in there for a traditional water heater. I usually recommend on-demand water heaters in this small cabin. You could put your on-demand water heater in there if you wanted to and keep it out of the way and hid, which would be real good. Here you can see that you've got a lot of room. You've got a closet. You've got enough room for an over-under washer dryer, which is real nice. That way you're not having to run to the laundromat to do your wash. And it's right next to your closet, so you can do your clothes, get them out of the dryer and hang them right up in your closet. Lots of room in there to store all your stuff. There's even enough room here for you to put another couple of shelves. You can put a couple more shelves up in here for more storage up in there. So that's a real nice feature of this cabin, is it gives you enough place to take care of your every essential need that you need to in this cabin. Okay, so now I'm going to swing around and I'll show you the living area. Okay, now we're looking at the living area of the cabin. Bathrooms on this side over here. There's enough room in here for you to put a single bed or a full-size regular bed, or what I like is, because I'm using this as a living area and a bedroom, I put in this 6'6" pull-out couch bed, which I use a lot in my cabins, and it's got a real nice window up above the bed, and these windows fold instead of a slide, or you can get sliding windows, but you got a nice open area of window in here for lots of light. You've also got these doors, these sliding glass doors right here, that makes this feel really open and airy. You can look right out and see your yard and things like that. And this gives you enough room for 2 people to dine at this table. And you can also turn this table around in front of the couch, and you could have 2 people sit on the couch and use the table for playing cards or games or eating a meal. And like I said, this chair that's down here against this desk can also be turned around in front of this table, so you could sit 3 people here. You could actually sit 5 people here. If you have a leaf table, which I recommend, you just fold the leaf out, and that gives you a lot more room. Slide it up against your couch, and that gives you a nice dining area. Slide it out of the way when you're ready to go to bed. Pull your bed out, and you could have one of these. They make these now that have storage underneath the bed for your blankets and stuff like that. And you can just pull your blankets out from underneath your bed, throw them on your couch, and you're ready to sleep. So that gives you a nice area in here for living. Now let's go back outside, and I'll show you some other features on this cabin. Okay, on this Bandito cabin, this type of structure would be great for, as I designed it, permanent living for 1 or 2 people. Really nice little bachelor pad or a guest house. You know, it has a lot of potential for different structures. You could use this as office space, a workplace, you know, a shop. You could take that bathroom wall out, and you got 9 feet by, or 12 feet by 16 feet of space that you could do just about anything with. Very, very nice looking Spanish style Bandito cabin. And the material cost on this is going to depend a lot on what you use for material. Just the basic 2x4 walls, structure, and flooring and roof wouldn't cost that much, under $2,000, somewhere around there. All this other stuff, solar panels and things like that, that's going to add to your expense. That's not calculated into the cost of the cabin, okay? This false front is completely optional. You actually don't even need it. You could just go with a square top roof. That would look fine. I just put this in here because it's a nice feature for looks, but that's all it really does. It does add some shading, though, to the front of this porch. So this false roof does serve a purpose to add some shading to the front of this, since you don't have an overhang over your porch and your sun is coming from this direction. So I do recommend it, but if you left it off, it wouldn't be a great loss, okay? And it does add some to the material cost. The 2x6 framework, not all that expensive to put around. You could use recycled material for that, since you're going to be painting it. Nobody's going to know that it was recycled material. And older looking wood looks really nice on this. The sliding glass doors, I don't include in the figure of under $2,000 because those can be very pricey. If you can find some sliding glass doors that are recycled at a salvage yard, that's what I would do. I always recommend using recycled doors and stuff like that. Pine poles you could get just about anywhere at any lumber yard. Not real expensive, but they're going to add a little bit to the expense. Okay, that is the Bandito cabin. I hope you like it, folks. Again, 12 by 16 with a lot of functionality. Stucco paint or a stucco outside covering would really add to this cabin. And this design here would look great in any southwestern atmosphere or just anywhere. It just makes a really nice cabin. Hope you like it. As always, I will be including the Sketchup Files so you can play around with this when I publish the book, and you can modify it and do anything you want with it. Change the furniture, change the colors, whatever you want to do with it. And I'll announce that book on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, I always recommend that you go get my book, Ultimate Off-Grid, because you're going to want to learn how to install solar panels, wind power, and different appliances that work best in these small cabins. And that book is 355 pages, and the ebook's only $7. So go to my website, simplesolarhomesteading.com, pick you up a copy of that while you're waiting for my book on 10 tiny cabins. Thanks, folks. I hope you enjoyed this Bandito cabin, and thanks for stopping by.